Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Goss here again. I'm back for another lesson with you today. Today we're going to be talking about customary units of length and how we can change from those customary units. If you have been going through the Google Slides assignment, you will have already learned some things about the customary units of length. So our customary units of length are inches, feet, yards, and miles. Those are the units that we are going to be discussing today. And we're going to be talking about how do we change back and forth between those units. So let's get started by looking at our first word problem. Marita orders 18 yards of material to make banners for the school carnival. If she needs 1 foot of fabric for each banner, how many banners can she make? So in this word problem, I already have my information that I need highlighted. It's telling me that she has 18 yards of material, but she wants to break that 18 yards into feet. So we need to figure out how many feet are in 18 yards to find out how many banners we can make. So our very first step, the first thing that we're going to do is step 1, identify those units. I'm going to use my highlighting pen here just to help me out a little bit. So my first unit is yards. So I'm going to highlight that in orange. And my second unit is feet, and I am going to highlight that in green. So I'm starting with yards and I'm changing to feet. So I need to go over to my chart that I have up here, and I need to find where we are comparing yards and feet. So in the first one, it's foot and inches. That is not the same as yards and feet, so I know I'm not looking at this first row. The next row says yards and feet. So now I know I'm at the right place. I labeled at the top. This side of the chart is our bigger unit. This side of the chart is our smaller unit. So when I say identify your units, I want to know, is yards bigger or smaller than feet? So I can look over here and I can see yards is on the big side, feet is on the small side, so yards is going to be bigger than feet. So now I can move down to step 2, which says decide if you will multiply or divide. So I just figured out that yards was my big unit, so I'm going to label that as my big unit. And feet is my small unit, so I'm going to label that as small. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because it's going to help me decide if I'm going to multiply or divide. So there is a saying that I like to use to help me figure out if I'm going to multiply or divide. And the sayings go like this, and I even like to put some hand motions in with it. So we start with our hands really big, and we say big to small, multiply it all. So I'll say that one more time. Big to small, multiply it all. And then the other saying is small to big, divide. I'll say that one more time. Small to big, divide. So now that I know those two sayings, I can look at this and say, oh, this is big to small. And what do I know about that? I know big to small, multiply it all. So I am going to be multiplying. So I'm going to put that multiplication sign in the middle just to help me remember that I am going to be multiplying from a bigger unit to a smaller unit. So I already have the first number that I'm going to multiply. So that takes us to step 3. Multiply or divide your units. Use the chart to help you. So again, I already have my first units. I have those 18 yards. But what am I going to multiply those 18 yards by? That's where this chart comes in again. We want to go back up to where it's comparing the yards and the feet. Here it's showing me I'm going to use the numbers on this side of the chart to figure out which one I'm going to multiply by. So 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So I'm going to multiply 18 times 3. I can take my calculator and pull it out over here and do the multiplication. 18 times 3. And that's going to give me 54. So that means that 18 yards is equal to 54 feet. And since in the word problem it tells us that each banner is going to be 1 foot long, that means that Marita is going to be able to make 54 carnival banners. Let's take a look at another problem. It says Leona's garden is 240 inches long. How long is her garden in feet? So I know that we're going to be looking at 240 inches and figuring out how many feet are in 240 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is again identify my units. My units are inches, which I'm going to highlight in blue, and my other unit is feet, which I am going to highlight in green. So now that I know what my units are, inches and feet, I have to go to step 2. Decide if you will multiply or divide. Remember, big to small, multiply it all. Small to big, divide. So let's go back up and take a look at our chart. If I divide my chart straight down the middle, I'm going to see that anything on this side of the chart, so if I'm looking at this chart, it's my left side. Anything on the left is going to be my big side. These are all going to be my bigger units. If there's anything on the right side, these are all going to be my smaller units when I am comparing. So we know that we're comparing inches and feet. So I'm going to go up to my chart. I'm going to look at my first list here. 1 foot equals 12 inches. Am I comparing inches and feet? Yes, I am. It doesn't matter that the feet is first and the inches is second, and in the problem, the inches is first and the feet is second. Because if you look at the chart, there's nowhere else that they are comparing inches and feet. There's nowhere else where I can see that highlighted blue and highlighted green. Here's my green, here's my blue. I don't see blue anywhere else on this chart. So that's going to help me know I need to go to 1 foot equals 12 inches. So now that I identified my units, I can move to that step 2. Decide if you will multiply or divide. So I know that inches is small. I'm going to use an S to stand for small. And that feet is big. And I'll even make the B a little bit bigger just to show small versus big. So my inches is my smaller unit and feet is my larger unit. If I look back at step 2, when I go from a small unit to a big unit, it tells me to divide. Remember that saying, small to big, divide. So I know that I'm going to be dividing, and I'm going to put that division sign right in the middle just to help me remember to divide. So step 3 tells us multiply or divide your units. Use the chart to help you. Since we know we're going to be dividing, we're going to come back up and look at our chart. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. If you remember, I said that whenever we multiply or divide, we're always going to use the number that's on the small side. So I'm going to take 240 and divide it by the 12 inches that are in 1 foot. When I do that, I can pull out my calculator again. 240 divided by 12, and that's going to give me 20. So that means that 240 inches is equal to 20 feet. So if Leona's garden is 240 inches long, then her garden is also 20 feet long. In the lesson, there will be a calculator provided for you. If you do not have one at home, you can click on the link for the calculator and it will open up on the web page for you to use. So that ends our short lesson for today. I'd like you to continue with the Pear Deck presentation to walk through the steps one more time before trying out some problems on your own. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!